Now it's Ceren's turn. Ceren, the translator of your new book. Ceren, would you like to? Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, that book we're talking about.
Yes, yes, Ceren, go ahead, ask your question.
So my question about what could you recommend for people who would like to start doing abolitionist vegan advocacy from scratch? I mean, to be more specific, what could you recommend for vegans who are living in small towns or rural areas where there are no other vegans to do animal rights advocacy, about where and how to start? Because if you are the only person in your social circle, people tend to take veganism as something like your eccentricism or like your thing. And it's difficult to organize events like vegan picnics and tabling alone. I'm used to do vegan tabling and picnics with other vegans in Istanbul, but now I find it puzzling to start vegan movement in a small town on my own. So what would be your take on this?
Move. Get the hell out of there. Well, one of the reasons why we wrote those 3 books, Eat Like You Care, Animal Rights, The Abolitionist Approach, and Advocate for Animals, was because we wanted to provide a little library for people who are not with other vegans necessarily, and sort of, and obviously, if you're in a place where there are no other vegans and you're tabling, it may look a little peculiar, but you can always discuss you can always talk to people about things. And so, tabling, what is tabling? I mean, you can set up a table. It doesn't have to have it doesn't have to have like strong animal. It can be, do you like animals? Come and talk to me. Do you like animals but still eat them? Come and talk to me. Something like that, something provocative. Obviously, you should write it in Turkish. Don't write it in English. But you should write something, and then people come over to you and talk with you. But there are all sorts of places to have discussions with people. One of the things we did in Advocate for Animals is talk about like all these various contexts in which you can, like you're sitting in a vet's office. Everybody like loves their animals, and people are upset because their dog or cat has got something, and you sort of get involved. You can get by just saying something like, "Isn't it interesting how we love our dogs and cats so much, but we eat animals 3 times a day?" I mean, I've said things like that in vet offices. As a matter of fact, once a veterinarian threatened to throw me out of her office if I didn't stop saying that. But you can get people involved in discussions. When I'm driving, when I have the dogs in the car, people will often come up to me and say, "Oh, and then I'll tell them the story about all the dogs, about their abused dogs, or blah, 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 blah. That one's blind and deaf, etc." And then you get involved in a discussion about how, there's no difference between the ones we love and the ones we stick forks into. So I think, there's always stuff you can do. I mean, if you're in a situation in which there's literally you have no other vegans around you, what would I do in that situation? Well, I don't know where we're talking about, what sort of set up the town. I mean, I just don't know. But I mean, it would seem to me that you're setting up a table in which you don't have anything necessarily provocative, but just like sort of a question, do you love animals? Come and talk to me. And then you've got a bunch of like things that you've made, a bunch of vegan, I mean, food activism is extremely important. I mean, I've been saying this for years,
right.
And I mean, I think, Gulce sort of got into that pretty early on, because I was 25 years ago, I was saying food activism. People think that vegans eat styrofoam. I mean, they don't understand. They think we eat cardboard, they think we eat plastic. We need to sort of show them how good vegan food is. And so, and I remember there was a group in Valencia, Spain, some years ago that I ran across, and there was another group I didn't know anything about. There were a bunch of people who were doing abolitionism, and somebody told me about them, and I actually went and met them. And as a matter of fact, when I first went up there, the guy didn't believe that I was Gary Francione. I said, no, really, seriously, I am. I didn't have my picture to say, in fact, that is me. But he had all these he was all these great, really hot really spicy Spanish, things, and he was handing them out and talking to people, and he was really getting a lot of people. He didn't have anything sort of particularly ideological or substantive. I mean, he was basically handing out stuff saying, isn't this really good? And there's no animal products in there. Right. And it's, no animals died, and it's better for you health-wise, and blah, blah, blah.
But you don't even have to be doing that at that's semi-organized, it's designed to interface with the public, with people he didn't know. But everybody can put a bit of effort into your lunch that you take to work with you. Something that smells fantastic, that makes everyone else jealous that they haven't, and then you're eating it, you're saying nothing, and everyone's like, oh, that smells good. And you say, yeah, I got this new vegan cookbook. It's really just casually. I mean, it may be that if you're the only vegan in the village, they already know that, but it's a gentle, non-threatening way to make your veganism appealing, because Gary's right. People think that vegan food is strange and expensive, and it's too difficult. Now, we have a website called How Do I Go Vegan? I don't know if anyone...
They have a Turkish version.
Have you got a Turkish version of that?
Yeah.
That's so important, because if you do get someone interested in it, then they're going to say, but what do I eat tonight? And if you can work up a week's meals of things they already have in their kitchen, and it didn't require them to go to a major city and a specialized supermarket or something, if you don't keep the momentum going when they're initially interested, you may well lose them. I mean, we're coming up to the holiday season for a lot of people right now. Bake something fantastic and just take it to whatever gatherings you're going to, and then when people say, oh, this is so good, and you just say, oh yes, it's vegan. And if you passed it to them and said, this is vegan, it's so funny that they go as if you're giving them, dead frogs or something. It's like, oh, I couldn't eat that, it's vegan. Let them enjoy it and then tell them it's vegan, so that they realize it's not deprivation, it's not difficult, it's not weird, it fits into your life. You don't have to spend all day grinding your own flour and doing everything from scratch. You can be the normal, busy, high-functioning person with a family and a budget and still be vegan. In fact, it might even be easier. But, we've got to think a little. There's a bit of theater involved in those things too. But, take a book that you've already read, and when you're on the bus, you sit there and you'll see if anyone's interested. People start talking to you, on the website, on the Abolitionist Approach website, not the Facebook page, there are
the flyers.
The little flyers.
Did you ever translate those into Turkish? If not, why not?
We have a lot of flyers, and Melike is actually a professional designer, so she's doing them for us. We have lots of very good brochures and pamphlets and everything. So, and we always keep them with us.
Okay. That's great, but you don't even have to hand them out in the way that people would with leaflets. You can just use it as your bookmark. You're reading another book, you just use it as your bookmark, and you're holding it, right? And
we also have bookmarks, by the way. We
exactly
have the Turkish version of howdoivegan.com.
Great, but and you can leave them in things. If you're in the doctor's office, you just leave them in the magazine that's there for people waiting. All these surreptitious little ways of getting the message out. It doesn't have to be in someone's face. It's just part of everyday life. It brings the conversation out, because some people have heard about veganism, but they didn't want to ask the question, and you might be the first person they feel comfortable in asking about it.
You know what? I was just trying to think. Do I have a Turkish translation of the pamphlets is there a Turkish translation on the Abolitionist Approach website? We got a whole bunch of languages.
We have your Animal Rights Abolitionist Approach pamphlets, Turkish version. Actually, it was translated by someone else, and then we wrote to you and said it's a very bad translated. Let us translate. Translate it again.
Anything you want to translate, it's done.
Well, did you do it?
Yes, we did it, and actually, you put the new version into the website.
Good. That's good. That's good. I mean, I mean, it's unfortunate. I'm thinking that, eventually I'm just going to have to hire an assistant because it's like we do this all stuff ourselves. I don't know how to, it's
We're
like
two old people.
Yeah,
and all this technology is for you guys.
exactly. I mean, it's like, I'm going to be it just occurred to me, like, I'm going to be 70 years old soon, and it's like, oh my God, I never thought I would live this. If I thought I was going to live this long, I would have taken much better care of myself. But I just, it's like, I just keep thinking, Mick Jagger can still run around that stage and he's almost 80. So I'm sort of keeping that as my, I want to be able to run around like Mick in another 10 years. But the technological stuff is challenging because, I'm not into this stuff.
You can't keep up. You can't do everything. That's the problem.
Exactly. And it's like, and I
need a young person.
Yeah. Because, there's a lot of stuff that we could do. I just don't have the help to do it because, I don't know how to do it. I mean, it's like I gotta have the ideas and I know what I want to do. It's just very hard to get people who know how to do this stuff. But anyway, so next question. What is the next question?